Hola amores, and welcome back to the channel. And to those who don't know me, I am Maritza, currently a graduate master's student in psychology. And today we are going to talk about the number one reasons why men 100% can shut off sexually, okay, according to psychology. And yesterday we touched on the subject, what are the reasons why women shut off sexually? So if you didn't watch it, I recommend you to go back and see it. Let's get into it right now. I'll start with a saying in Spanish that goes like this. El camino al fracaso está pavimentado con excusas, and it means the path to failure is always pavimented with excuses. So, my loves, there is a massive cultural myth that men are always ready for sex, alright? That they are just very simple creatures driven by a constant physical urge to have sex. However, for millions of men, that is really not the reality. When a man shuts off sexually, it is rarely about just not being in the mood. It's usually a protective wall that he has built over time. And what makes men withdraw from sex is more of a biological silent killer that really weighs in heavy and often is one that he's not able to talk about. So my loves, as for this first reason, let's think of it as if we were looking at a vehicle. For example, if a vehicle's engine is not getting sufficient fuel, then simply the vehicle will not run. So, a man's fuel, in this case, is his testosterone. Having low testosterone can negatively affect his desire for sex. And this can be due to many things. Stress, poor sleep, bad eating habits, illnesses, things maybe like age. All these things can tank a man's testosterone. And low levels don't just lower a man's libido, it literally kills the motivation for intimacy. Now, let's also mention the performance anxiety loop that comes to a man's brain if perhaps yesterday, for some reason, he wasn't able to follow through. If a man had maybe one night off yesterday where it didn't work, then the fear of it happening again can also be paralyzing to the man. So now he decides to shut off sexually and on purpose to avoid the failure of underperforming. His brain has decided it's safer just to stay out of the game entirely than to try and fail. And this does not mean he's shutting off his partner. No, this just means he's shutting down a potential blow to his own personal ego. Next, my friends, let's talk about something else. Why men shut off sexually? Well, here's where we have to understand and we have to mention that many men process their stress and their emotions way differently than us ladies. While many of us women, we can maybe use intimacy to de-stress, many men cannot do that. Many men cannot be intimate until their stress is managed. And some men have the provider burden on top of them all the time. Maybe he's struggling at work. Maybe he's feeling like he's failing financially. And if all this is true, he's very possibly feeling unworthy of pleasure at this moment. And it may be very hard and difficult for him to act like a lover and to get his act up when he's right now feeling bad in the world. Another reason is he may shut off because of emotional disconnection. If there's constant conflict in the household, a man may shut off sexually to protect himself from further vulnerability, because sex requires opening up. And if he feels criticized all the time and nagged on left and right in his daily life by his partner, then his body can very well shut up physically to refuse and open up in the bedroom. Another reason why a man can shut off sexually is due to what? Is due to modern daily habits, the ones he can have by himself watching porn on the internet, in the digital intimacy as they call it nowadays. What happens? All these things are often things that really fry the man's dopamine receptors. And if his brain is habituated to high-intensity digital stimulation all the time, then real-world intimacy can feel slow or boring or maybe demanding, okay, in comparison to what he sees online, making him shut down. Another reason is because of something called the roommate syndrome. And this is when the mystery completely dies out with a connection with his partner. When this becomes what? A series of chores and duties and kids and schedules and work and money. What happens? And the sexual spark? What happened? Where did it go? If it often gets forgotten or slowly gets buried under a pile of laundry, all this mental load can physically exhaust him and will get him to shut off as well. So my friends, the question is, how do we fix a system that has gone dark now? Maybe for a day, maybe for a while. Well, for one, please remember, safety comes first. And the bedroom has to be a shame-free zone for the couples. If the man feels pressured to perform, he will further withdraw. So we please need to lower the stakes right here. Number two, we need to be on top of all the health checkups. Please get the blood work done. Check your hormone levels. Sometimes it can very well be a medical fix and not always a psychological mental one. And number three, please let's begin to drive each other with some non-sexual touches. Let's rebuild the bridges with each other by hugging, by holding hands, by massaging each other. Anything you want to do without the expectation of it leading to sex. Because this can remove the performance pressure that we give men. And my loves, let me tell you, if you're watching this and you're one of those guys that has shut off, well, you're not broken. You're likely just overwhelmed. And if you maybe are the partner, then believe me, it likely is not you and it's not your fault. And believe me, this switch can usually be flipped back. However, it starts with a good conversation and not a good confrontation. And with this, we have reached the end of today's video, but I invite all of you to connect with me through Instagram. Go and check out my other music relaxing channel here on YouTube, and go and see the channel's membership just in case you may find it useful. Once again, I am Maritza, and know that I will try my best to continue always keep bringing you ways on how to create a better bond with yourself and a more meaningful relationship with all those around you. Mwah. Till next time. Ciao, ciao, my loves. Ciao, ciao, my amores.